So Ryusei is back in armor after this bittersweet return. The guys seem to need to pick me up. To find out how they get that in this episode of Samurai Troopers 2026. Let's go. So this episode of Samurai Troopers series 2026, episode 18, titled Comeback. It starts off very bitter, as mentioned, very bittersweet. Ryusei is back, but at the cost of Shion being on the slab. The guys are looking on as the rest of the base are seeing him lying there. They're getting ready to, do what they got to do with him. Ryusei is looking on, and everybody's sad. It starts off that way as well. The base is very quiet. People are either training or everybody's avoiding each other, and just it shows what grief looks like in an interesting way. Like nobody wants to say anything bad. Nobody wants to, try to preach. It's just quiet, and people are avoiding each other. I like that part about this. It's very real. So, guy going around seeing how everyone is, he actually tries to talk to some people, get some advice, but he finally resides himself to seeing Nasty. So the captain or the lieutenant is back, and he gets some advice from her. She tells him that she did get a visit from Shion, and some interesting things were relayed from Shion. Now, I'm not sure if this was mentioned before, but Shion was not chosen like Ryusei and the guys were. He was kind of a generalist, so I'm not sure if this was a retcon or not. But he could adapt to many of the armors, which makes sense because he was able to experiment on the armors and mix and match them and make his own particular armor. So he was able to utilize Ryusei's armor, but not to the extent that it needed to be. So they feel like they can really draw out the Emperor's armor by bringing Ryusei back and letting him utilize his abilities. The guys, okay, so now Guy goes back to the base. We're cutting to Ryusei trying to figure out how he can, talk to the guys and get them back in their good graces. It's heavily implied that, Yamato might not want them back, and he's talking about them being a four and things like that. It's never really shown, but it's talked about, and I guess you can see it as no one's really talking to each other, as in the previous scene. But Ryusei finally, gets the courage with some talking to from Ryo, and he goes to talk to the guys, pleading his case. He's already forgiven. They're back together, and the Samurai Troopers are back in action. As mentioned before, I love this about the Samurai Troopers. They don't dwell; they go right into it. It can be an issue sometimes in the series, but overall, they handle the quick pacing very well in what I've seen. So now everybody's back together, and they start their training. Now, this is the best part of this episode that I like. So they're prepping to train to go to the divine world. And in this process, everybody begins to train. The first namers, they're starting to train in their virtues. So they want to train them up, get them to a particular state. I don't know, but it's hoping that they can do something with it. But again, the first namers training in their virtues as humans, what their powers will be. Will there be a new armor for them? I'm very excited about that. I hope they get kind of a newer armor or a lighter armor, or their old armor kind of changes. Even the other brother that's always in that big bulky shroud thing starts to strip that away, and now he's just wearing a simple mask. The change in the first namers is really noticeable. And then we get the grand surprise. The original 5 Samurai Troopers are back. And they originally mentioned that they are going to be taking over the reins of protecting the human world as the guys go on to attack the divine world. So they talk about it and seeing like, oh, we're so old and things like that. They look great for their age though, and they immediately shut down. That yes, this is the next generation. This is they are the main characters, and things will go on as that. But that should never take away from the fact that I hope they get their own centered episode where they transform. Please make that happen. Please make that episode. But other than that, everybody, is starting to get their assignments. So, first namers are training. The OGs are getting ready to protect the human world, and the guys are getting ready to go to the divine world. Now we get a little side banter between the guys, the divine warriors in the original world. You begin to realize that the head lady, she is sick, so she is apparently dying. I did not know that. Like that came out of nowhere. That was a little bit of information. And then Ine is still plotting, and everybody's looking at everybody. Now everybody's suspicious of May, and everybody's setting themselves to get ready for the attack on the divine world. Ime and the head lady, I keep forgetting her name, and this makes me angry, but they have their back and forth, and he tells them all he knows, and she's shocked that he knows, and they do their thing and go their separate ways. Cutting back to the guys, you have Hiro, Yuri. He now transports the guys to the divine world. So now they're in the divine world, and they are met with their first obstacle. They see like cold surroundings and things like that, and they meet a giant golem. They have a hard time transforming because I guess they're still not over Shion passing, and they have a lot of doubt. So Guy has to whip them back into shape. They, again come back. It's a little doubt, nothing too serious, and they transform and take him out. This is where they now are about to take on their first divine warrior in Gaime. And that's the ape-like looking divine warrior. Now, it's stated, he's probably the weakest of them, and that has been shown, but we'll see what he can do, what his abilities are going to be, and see how the guys take him out. And the guys take their stance, they transform, they get ready to take on Gaime in the next episode. So 19, I guess that's where they fight. So that was the episode of Samurai Troopers 2026, episode 18. Again, this was a good episode. Things went fast. It didn't go so fast that the mourning process was taken over. Like they didn't feel bad, but then they jumped in like the Mira. They mourned pretty well. I liked the scenery and the atmosphere that they had when they were mourning. And the guys, the first namers training in their virtues, they're about to get stronger. The OGs are about to do their thing, and the guys are now taking on the divine world, ready to get the shield. Great episode. I'm not gonna rate it. I don't rate, but it was a great. I would say a good like 7 to 8, and can't wait to see how they go about this and where everybody lays, and to the next episode, to the next, and I'm ready for the ride. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in episode 19. Thank you, and have a good one. Bye.